Richardson. She is president and founder of Widows of Opportunity. And today we're going to talk about, as we head into the holidays, it's a joyous time for most, but not for those people who have lost a spouse during this past year. And this may be the first time that they will be experiencing the holidays. Not a good time for them. And we'll be discussing it because people handle grief in different ways. And you can help them. And we'll discuss how during the first half hour of today's program. Every Thursday during the second segment of the program, Dr. Frank Martin is my guest. Today we're going to talk about 14 ways to lose weight after the age of 40. You may want to take notes. My final guest of the day will be Susan O'Kane. She's with Riverbank Zoo and Gardens. And one of the most popular things they do, aside from Lights Before Christmas, starts on the 21st of this month and runs through the 30th. It's called Boo at the Zoo. So I hope you'll stay tuned for the entire program, and welcome back to Health, Wealth, and Happiness, Kimberly Richardson.
Thank you for having me, Gary.
Now, there's no doubt about the fact that it's an interesting time for those men and women who have lost a spouse and are experiencing the holidays for the first time.
Yes.
Because many become very recluse. They don't want to see anybody. They want to stay home alone. It's difficult, I think, for family members, for neighbors, for friends to know how to handle that, Kim. Should you abide by their wishes, or should you say, no, you know, she's home alone, let's invite her to our house? Is there a right answer?
There's no right or wrong answer, and I want to address this to anyone who's lost a loved one. I think that we should, the first year is tough, and most people do drastic changes in the first year. Some may not even celebrate the holiday at all, and that's okay. Some may go out of town, they may do something totally different, but I think it's important that we plan to grieve during the holiday season, and we plan to have a good time and have fun as well.
What's interesting is there are some people who have lost a loved one, and you really are kind of concerned about them because they've gone through the funeral and they have shown very little grief, if any. Haven't cried very much, just have kind of taken this. This happens many times with nurses. They handle a death of a spouse as if they were handling any patient that they might have in the hospital, very clinically. And then comes the holidays, and something will trigger that, and boy, they lose it. And it could, and that's maybe the first time that they have expressed any grief at all, and that's fairly frequent.
Well, and for me, when I received the news that my husband died, I broke down in front of the coroner officer. I dropped down to my knees and I screamed and I hollered. That's how I grieve. I didn't grieve at the wake and I didn't grieve at the funeral. So people grieve differently. People do things differently. Some people do it at home, in the closet, in the privacy of their home. It doesn't mean that they don't love them or miss them, or everybody grieves differently. And I do think that the holidays bring out I don't want to say the worst in us, but it brings out more emotions than any other time because you have so many memories that you share with your loved ones.
During the wake, I think almost everybody will come up to the spouse and say, now, Kim, if there's anything I can do. Well, you know, you're numb. You wouldn't, you can't think of anything that anybody could do, and what could they do?
That's true.
The best thing that if there's something that needs to be done, and you know that it needs to be done, just do it.
That's right.
Just do it.
That's right.
Don't ask permission, just do it.
We're not going to call you and tell you we need the grass cut, we need this, we need that. Just do it like you said. Exactly. And a lot of people, we live in a selfish world, and it's so sad. People got so much stuff going on. I got my own issues. I got to run behind my husband, my children. I got work. I got school. We need more selfless people, because if this was to happen to you, which it's possible to happen to you, because once you get married, you're possibly going to lose your spouse. Either he or she, somebody's going to pass away. So if this happened to you, what would you want someone to do for you?
Yeah, especially due to, illness is one thing, but
Mhm.
an accident like you lost your
Mhm.
husband, it's not planned.
Mhm.
It just happens.
Yeah.
Life happens.
That's
And
right.
you don't plan for it, but it does happen.
Mhm.
And and so what and many times I'm sure your first thought after you fell to your knees is I've got to protect my child.
Yeah, taking my child.
I mean that was your concern.
Mhm.
That's been your concern from that
That's
day
right. That's right.
when if I remember correct, your child was
He was
5
6. Mm-hmm.
until he became an adult.
Correct.
I mean, that was your concern. Then
That's right.
after your child was an adult, well, you kind of eased up a
That's
little
right.
bit.
That's
I mean,
right.
he's still your kid, but
That's right.
then it reaches a point where when your child becomes a majority, then he's pretty much on his own.
It's an adult.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. But, you know, so I think when you're looking at the holidays, um, you pretty much have to, as you've indicated, you pretty much have to go with whatever that person is desiring. If your family gets together every Thanksgiving, for example, and the person who's just lost their spouse says, not this year, then you got to say, okay, rather than, oh no, Kim, you got to come. I mean, we do this every year. Well,
Well, I want to say something for those who, like the widows and widowers and people who've lost loved ones. We need to, like I said, we need to prepare to grieve our loss and not take 24 hours in it. Not say, okay, I know on Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, I'm going to be under the sheets. I'm going to be crying. I'm not going out. Don't do that. Don't isolate yourself. There are some people that we do trust and we love. And so it's important that we get out of the bed. It's okay to wake up and cry and grieve, but then get dressed, go out. Force yourself to go out. Force yourself to have a good time. Because more than likely when you do go out and you get around the right people, you tend to forget what's really going on. You may think about them here and there, but you're so involved in your company and having fun that you kind of forget it. And then once you get back home, you deal with it. So I think it's very important that during the holiday season that we grieve, we plan to grieve, and we also plan to do something special for ourselves.
here's something that's really tough. And I've said this many times. It's one thing to lose a spouse. It's something altogether different to lose a child. It's not in the scheme of things. That's not how it's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to outlive your child. Let's take your case, where you lost your husband. How did his parents react, and how did they react to you? Because I mean, yeah, you were grieving. My God, you lost your husband, and you got a 5-year-old child. They lost a son. They're alive. That's not normal now. Come on
It's
now.
not. It's not, and I have to stay in my lane with that, Gary, because I've never lost a child, and I hope I never lose my son. So I have to stay in my lane. I can't speak for them. They were overwhelmed. They were devastated. I can't imagine, And so I do feel like we do need to change up the rituals well, because sometimes we do the same rituals when we lost a loved one, and it keeps us in that same sadness. When you change up the rituals and try something different, then it's now you're accepting your loss, which is kind of hard to do, but you're also doing something good new for you. So this year I'm going to do something new. I'm going to do something different for me and my son, or me and my family. So it's important as well that we change up our rituals when we're ready to, because that's pretty hard to do.
Have you stayed close to your family, your husband's family? Okay, you don't. I mean, yeah, okay, and that's not all that unusual either, because
Yeah.
here's what happens so many times. It happens in death. It happens in divorce.
Mhm.
My opinion. This is my opinion. We treat divorce as if it's a social occurrence. Divorce is very much like death. It really is a great deal like death. And people that you think are your friends, mutual friends,
I have
And-
to chime in
and-
there, Gary.
in death and in divorce, they go away. But wait a minute.
I have to chime in there.
Okay.
That is a very death and divorce are two different things, and I'm gonna say why that is. Both of us, So if I lost my husband, and this woman divorced her husband. Our husband divorced her. We're both devastated. That wasn't the plan. We're both hurt. I know so many people that went back to their husbands or their wives after 10 years of divorce. That's one thing. Secondly, the children are still, depending on who the person is, the children still can see their father and their
Hopefully.
mother. Some of them, not all of them, not all stories. For me, my son will never ever be able to see his father. But there are
Sure.
some people who have husbands who are ex-husbands who are amazing, who takes care of their children. And then you have some people who still deal with their ex-husbands and wives. You know, they might not share it to the world, but behind closed doors, they're still dealing with them some kind of way. The person's still there. So it does hurt that they're divorced. That was never the plan. However, the person's still alive.
That's true, and
It's a
there
big
are some
difference.
men who not only divorce their wives, but when they divorce their
They
wives,
divorce the children as well.
thank you very much. But
Yeah.
here's the deal. You know this to be the case. Many times, people that you had as friends, that you and your
Oh,
husband had as
definitely.
friends,
That's
they
true.
disappear, and you
That's
wonder,
true.
what's that all about?
You're the third wheel, and some people, and for widows, we go through that. And some of my friends are now intimidated by us because we are single women, and they may feel like, well, I don't want my husband around her or whatever, and not understanding we don't want your husband.
Yeah, exactly.
We're grieving our loss. We just
Sure.
want help. Some of us want and need help, you
Yeah.
know. And so yeah, we do lose. A widow lose more than just a husband. People need to understand that a lot of widows lose their finances, they lose their homes, they lose their cars, they lose their independence, they lose their friends. They lose a lot more than just a husband. We go through a lot, and widowers as well.
Yeah. And so wrap all that around your head and think, now we got the holidays.
Terrible.
Wow, that's a lot to say grace over.
Yeah,
It really is.
it is.
And so,
But I want to chime in again and say that for us, the widows and widowers, we need to take off our Superwoman and Superman capes. We go out to the world
Yeah.
and we show the world that it's, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And if we are to the people that we love and trust, not to everybody, because when we go to work, we got to kind of put up that front. But for the people that we really love and trust, we need to be straight up and honest. Say, I'm not having a good day. Today is bad. I'm feeling bad. I miss my husband. The children are misbehaving. Keep it real with those people so that they can really kind of sense what you're going through. If every time they see you, you good, you good, you good, I'm great, I'm great, I'm great, that's what they're going to think. And they're not going to treat us with delicacy. They're not going to treat us with kid gloves. We need to be treated a certain way, but people won't treat us that way if every time they see us we're strong or we seem strong.
okay, I'll go along with that. How do you find that person that you can really trust? It doesn't
Some of
always
us
have
do.
to. It doesn't
Some of
always
us
have to be
do.
a family member either. I mean, you know,
Yeah, we
sometimes.
could have a good friend that we trust. We can have a parent. We can have someone from church. It could be anyone. And I'm just saying, it could be one person. It could be 10 people. Whoever those people are, just keep it real with them so they can treat you a certain way, so they can know the reality and the realness of this loss.
And I really think this is where women have it over men, because you do have a network. Most men, they're a network. What is that? Most
Well,
men.
it's hard for a widow to have a network, though. A woman as a whole, as a single woman or a married woman, that's different. But as a widow, we lose so much, and some people just don't want to be in that company. They don't want to be in that sadness. And not understand that you can uplift a person with your smile, with saying something, just talking to them, listening to them. It's not always sad, but people need to be more selfless and not selfish.
And that's kind of, I guess, one of the reasons why you formed your organization, is to
yeah, exactly.
provide this group therapy, yes, but
Yes.
to feel I'm a part of something, and there are people that I can call upon,
That's right.
that I can be honest
That's
with. I
right.
can say, well, I'm having a terrible day.
Yes, and people that understand. You know, it's one thing to be around someone and say, I'm sorry for your loss, but they have no idea.
Yeah, right.
And then to be around someone who says, I'm sorry for your loss, I kind of know what you're going through because I
Been
lost
there,
my
done
husband or
that.
wife. as well.
There you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's I'm sure, I don't want to say it's comforting, but it's good to know that you can talk to somebody who really does know
Mhm.
what you're going through.
And it's good to know that there's hope. And you see it from the people who are ahead of you. You know, you might hear your story in the audience and like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need. We need to know that there's hope. There is hope and happiness after a loss. If you grieve properly, you have to put God in your life. You have to have Him in your life. Don't isolate yourself and surround yourself with positive people. It's definitely hope and happiness after a loss. I'm proof of that.
I think,
Definitely.
and I'm sure that you see it every day in members of that have come to your organization, and the positive things that have come out of
Yes.
the relationships of people that come to your meetings.
It's I love what I love to see is when some of them come in and they just lost their husband and they're lost, and I've been there, and they're just sad and they're just withdrawn. And then as they attended more, we advise that they do 6 months to a year consistently. Because if you think about it, if you go to the gym for 6 months to a year, it's gonna show. consistently.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's amazing, it's at the 6 month, the ones who come consistently, maybe 6 to 8 months, they look different. They come in and they're just beautiful, they're glowing, and their hair is done. They're like, I'm living, I have a reason to live now, and that's what it's all about. We have to go through that process, but there is life after a loss, definitely. So that's what we're there for, to comfort them and help them and guide them through their loss.
And you've got to let, I think, people work at their own pace.
Definitely, there you
can't say-
go.
You can't say, well, this is what I did.
Definitely.
You know.
Everybody losses differently. It might take me 1 year to get okay, to be okay, and it might take you 2 or 3 years. Everything is different. Some people have different losses where it was tragedy involved in the loss. There were maybe abuse in there, something in there that we would never know, but they knew that they shared that with their spouse, and so now they have to forgive their spouse along with other things. So you have to be patient. They can't look at everybody's loss as the same.
My guest during the first half hour of today's program is Kimberly Richardson, who's president and founder of Widows of Opportunity. You know what I think is interesting, you know, you talk about time passing. There reaches a point where I think friends and family say, okay, well, you know, Kim is, her husband's been dead for 10 years and her child is older now and she's still single. You know, this is kind of the holidays. This might be a good time to pair her up. I know this guy at church, and we'll talk about that right after this.
Palmetto Health, USC Medical Group, brings together two highly respected organizations, Palmetto Health and the University of South Carolina School of Medicine, with
It's funny.
500 physicians and providers.
So how long do we have between this right here?
We'll have this and one more commercial, and then we'll have about 8 minutes coming back.
Healthcare services in our practices and across the Palmetto
Yeah,
Health
that's
system.
funny you say that.
The very best
I
care
like that.
right here.
Well, I think it kind of fits, because during the holidays, people, it's a time to kind of
Today by visiting
play matchmaker.
I think it's okay for me being that I've been single for 13 years. Monday, October 17th, made it 13 years since my husband passed.
I'll be done. I'm sure in a lot of ways it seems like a lifetime ago, and in some ways probably like yesterday.
It depends. Yeah, it depends. On every year's different. But this has been a good year.
Good.
Yeah.
When you leave here, I want you to look outside. I bought a new car last Monday.
Okay.
I want you to look at it. It's
Okay.
not a new car. It's actually 14 years old.
Okay.
It's a 14-year-old Ford. It's red. Take a peek at it.
I will do that. I like older cars, by the way.
We're back in studio with me for the first half hour of today's program is Kimberly Richardson. She's president and founder of Widows of Opportunity. It is interesting how people will from time to time, especially after you've lost the spouse, or somewhere after 5 or 6 years, they want to play matchmaker. And I think maybe even more so during the holidays. You know, well, Kim, we'd like to invite you over for dinner. And when you think, okay, well, I'll go over for dinner, and you go, and you walk in, and a nice meal has been prepared, and wait a minute now, there's somebody else here about my age, or maybe a little older, maybe a little younger for that matter. But, oh, I get it.
Gary, I have not had that happen to me. No one since Monday, October 17th, made 13 years since my husband passed away. And what I did is, my goal in Widows of Opportunity goal each year is to give back to the community and medical grief down my success. So in these 13 years, no one's ever hooked me up or tried to hook me up. I'm a very private person. So I have not had that, let's have dinner, let's invite Kim over. And by the way, I'm happily single. But no one's done that. But it's happened to people. I've had widows where it's happened to them, and they were very upset. They didn't like that. You know, don't push it on them. Don't force it on them. Just let it happen naturally. And if you happen to go to dinner, someone sets you up like that, just enjoy it. You know, you're not getting married today. go in, have a good time. Even if the guy is ugly or the woman's ugly, forgive me, but just go and enjoy the company. You just never know. You might end up being best friends in the future. You may end up being married. So I think if you do get set up like that, don't get upset. Just enjoy it. You don't have to get married. You're not supposed to take them home that night. It's just, it was a thought, and so just enjoy the moment.
I can, you know, I can understand why people haven't approached somebody to fix it. First of all, because you're very self-confident. You really are.
Thank you.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And second, they probably haven't found any guy taller than you. That would be my second. That would be my second thought.
So while we're on this, Gary, my cutoff height is 5'11". Okay, I am actually 6 even, and today with heels I'm 6'3". But I don't
would
mind
be-
5'11".
Yeah, I'm sure that's
But he has to
probably-
be very confident. I've met some men that
Oh.
were short, but they were standing tall because they were very confident. So it's all about the confidence, man.
Boy, and I can tell you, they have to be really confident.
Yeah.
They could be 5'3", but they better be like Napoleon. That's all
Yeah.
I got to say.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. And that's probably why you scare them away, because
Oh,
you're,
no.
well, yeah, you're very confident. But that's good. That's a good thing. Because I mean, I think that's, you know.
It saves a waste of time. It saves time. I don't like to waste my time.
No, agreed 100%. I think, you know, I'm attracted to strong women.
Mm-hmm.
A lot, but most men, quite frankly, they're not.
They're intimidated. Most men want a woman they can run over and take advantage of, and I'm not that type.
Or they're looking for arm jewelry. They're
Hey,
looking, you know,
I can't-
isn't she sweet? Yeah, that, you know,
That's
that
funny.
that fades in a hurry. It really does.
That's so funny.
You know, there's an old expression, and it's really true. You can't fix dumb. I mean, you could find somebody that's absolutely
Gorgeous.
drop dead gorgeous,
Mhm.
but into the third sentence you
That's true.
think, ruh-roh,
That's true.
I don't think so,
That's true.
and it's over.
Yeah.
He may be drop dead gorgeous,
Yeah.
but that's where it ends.
That's
And that wouldn't work with you.
No.
No, I don't think so.
No, he has to be, and he has to be, this is so funny, confident, God-fearing, loving, caring, giving, honest, strong-willed. I'm attractive is fine, but that's not what it's all about. It's about the inside, it's about the heart. Because
Yeah.
that's going to eventually fade, you know. So, yeah, he has to be intelligent. He has to be able to hold a conversation and be sensitive and understand. There's so many qualities, but at the end of the day, you're right. He has to be strong because I'm strong, and he has to be able to accept what I do because I work very hard and I'm a very giving person, and he has to be able to accept that.
Yeah. And, you know, and it's.
What happened here, Gary? We
well,
doing it?
well, 13. Well, no, you're 13 years into being you.
Yes.
And that ain't going to change. You're not going to change that for anybody.
No, it really isn't. No.
And you shouldn't have to. No, you really shouldn't have
That's
to.
funny.
You know, whether you're widowed or not,
Mhm.
that's something that you shouldn't have to give up.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have to give up you.
Mhm.
You know, when my wife and I got married, she said, you know, I've been in business for at that time, I think 15 years, and I've been known as Phyllis James. Would you have any problem with me keeping my name? And I said, that in no way, you taking my name in no way impugns me or makes me feel any less of a man with you keeping your name. No, Phyllis James is fine.
Okay.
You keep your name.
Okay.
That doesn't change anything in our relationship, and it doesn't.
It's understandable.
The only thing is that, you know, when we have to explain to people, yeah, we really are married, she kept her name and I kept my name. And we didn't have a hyphen name because I said, no, that sounds like a law firm. I'm not interested in that.
Okay.
But so, you know, I get it. But I think a lot of men say, oh, boy, you know, it's like, my wife's not going to work. What? What do you mean my wife's not going to work? She has a career?
Every lot of people do stuff differently.
I know. So, I mean, you know.
It's a control thing. That's a whole nother show, and I wouldn't mind getting on that either.
Well, I mean,
Talk
you
about
know,
that.
you're right. I think in 2016, you can control that. That's of a different millennium. That's what our grandparents did. That doesn't mean they were happy. You know, well, they must have been in love. They were married for 50 years. Not necessarily. They may have been married for 50 years. That doesn't necessarily mean they were in love. That means they were together for 50 years.
That's
That's what that means. So, I'd much rather be in love. How about you?
Oh, definitely.
You got that
So
right.
you know what? I'll be patient and wait on that Mr. Good, that man that God sends me. I'll be patient and wait on him. And I
Heck
might
yeah.
meet him in 10 years. I might meet him in 2 years. Who
You
knows?
might meet them as you walk out the door. I mean, that's what makes life fun.
Yeah,
I mean, that's exciting. You never know.
you're right. You're
So,
right.
yeah. But now I know that you got some important dates coming up. One before the end of this month. So tell us about
The
that.
last Tuesday of each month, Widows of Opportunity has a monthly support group for widows. So if you know of a widow, whether she's been a widow recently, 5 years, 10 years, let her know about Widows of Opportunity and our monthly support groups. And our website is widowsofopportunity.com. My number is 803-238-5301. And they can contact me or you can contact me for questions.
I think what's got to be fun is when you have a widow who, let's say, has been widowed for 5 or 6 years, didn't know anything about your organization, and comes to a meeting and says, "I had no idea." Wow,
We
I
had
no
one
idea.
of 10 years. She said, I'm finally ready to talk about it. She didn't know anything. She didn't know it exists. I didn't know this kind of organization exists. And so she was ready to talk about it. And when she came in, it was just like she just lost her husband. People like to put time on grief. And the thing about grief is if you don't grieve, you're still stuck in that time.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's like walking into a new house with old furniture in it. Like you walk into a house, a 2016 house that was built in 2016, excuse me, and the furniture is from 1999. It's like, well, what is going on here? That's how it is. I'm standing here 2016, but I'm still stuck in the loss, maybe 1997 or whenever my husband died. So
Gotcha.
until we grieve it, that's the only way we're going to heal it from it.
Kim Richardson, I thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
so
and
much.
sharing on health, wealth, and happiness. Cool. That was fun.